Picture a modern battlefield. What do you see? Stealth jets, right? High-tech drones? Soldiers decked out with smart sights and gear straight out of a video game? But what if I told you that some of the toughest, most feared weapons still out there were designed over 80 years ago, right in the thick of World War II? It's a wild reality that kind of messes with our ideas about military progress. These things aren't just collecting dust in a museum. They are active, lethal weapons still shaping conflicts today. They might seem ancient, totally outdated, and from a different world of warfare. But these World War II weapons are still incredibly lethal pieces of military tech that you shouldn't take lightly. From the legendary M2 machine gun, whose thunder has been echoing across battlefields for almost a century, to the German machine gun so scary it earned the nickname Hitler's buzzsaw, these obsolete firearms are proving that sometimes older is better. Today, we're going to find out why these so-called relics are still a deadly and vital part of modern arsenals. First up, we've got a weapon so iconic and so tough, its service record stretches from 1930s biplanes all the way to today's most advanced fighting vehicles. It's the M2.50 caliber machine gun, known affectionately by soldiers as Ma Deuce. Developed by the one and only John Moses Browning after World War I, the M2 was adopted back in 1933 and quickly became a pillar of American military might during the Second World War. In World War II, the M2 was absolutely everywhere. It was slapped on Sherman tanks to deliver heavy firepower. It served as the main weapon on fighter planes like the P-51 Mustang and bombers like the B-17 Flying Fortress, just shredding enemy aircraft. And on the ground, infantry used it from fortified positions to completely lock down huge areas of the battlefield. There was no denying how effective it was. So, why is the M2 still a go-to weapon for modern militaries all over the world, more than 80 years later? The answer isn't nostalgia. It's just a brutal testament to a nearly perfect design. The biggest reason is the raw power of its .50 BMG cartridge. That massive round can hit targets over a mile away, a distance where your standard rifle is completely useless. It rips through brick walls, punches through the armor on light vehicles, and can even take down low-flying helicopters. In a world full of advanced armor and fancy electronics, the sheer kinetic energy of a .50 caliber slug is still a problem without an easy fix. The second reason it's stuck around is its insane reliability and simplicity. The M2 is an absolute workhorse. It's a heavy, rugged chunk of steel that'll chew through the worst conditions you can imagine, from the frozen mountains of Afghanistan to the deserts of Iraq, and still be ready to go. Its core design is so solid that it's needed very few major changes over its entire life. Sure, modern versions have nice upgrades like quick change barrels to keep them from overheating and advanced optics for better aim, but the heart of the weapon is the same one that served at Normandy and Iwo Jima. The M2 has been produced continuously with small upgrades along the way, keeping it relevant. It's the perfect embodiment of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The M2 wasn't just not broken, it was damn near perfect from day one, and it still defines what a heavy machine gun should be. During World War II, Allied soldiers learned to fear one sound above almost all others. It wasn't the scream of a dive bomber or the rumble of a tank. It was this terrifying, ripping noise, like a giant sheet of canvas being torn in two. This was the sound of the German Maschinengewehr 42, the MG42, a weapon so brutally effective they called it Hitler's buzzsaw. The MG42 was a total game changer. It was a general-purpose machine gun, so infantry could use it on a bipod for moving attacks or mount it on a tripod for sustained long-range fire. But what made it truly terrifying was its insane rate of fire. The MG42 could spew out up to 1,200 rounds a minute, so fast that your ear couldn't even pick out the individual shots. It just created that signature buzz. This wall of lead didn't just kill, it broke your spirit. It was the ultimate weapon for suppression, able to pin down whole platoons and make any movement feel like a suicide mission. Beyond the psychological terror, the MG42 was a marvel of industrial manufacturing. Earlier machine guns were carefully milled from solid steel, but the MG42 was built mostly from stamped and pressed metal parts. This made it way cheaper and faster to produce than the older MG34, letting Germany pump them out in massive numbers. It also had an ingenious quick-change barrel system that let a gunner swap an overheated barrel in seconds to keep the gun in the fight. After the war, the MG42's design was just too good to ignore. While the original gun and its World War II-era ammo faded away, its direct descendant rose from the ashes. When West Germany began to rearm in the 1950s, they took the MG42's blueprints, tweaked them to fire the new standard 7.62 by 51mm NATO round, and called it the MG3. The MG3 is, for all practical purposes, just a modernized MG42. They slowed the rate of fire a bit to a more manageable 1,100 rounds per minute, but the core guts, the stamped body, and the quick change barrel are all straight from its wartime parent. And it is a long way from being a museum piece. The MG3 is still used by the German Bundeswehr and has been picked up by over 30 other countries, including NATO allies like Turkey and Greece, and nations like Pakistan and Iran. You'll see it mounted on tanks, armored vehicles, and helicopters, still doing its job as a devastating support weapon. The design was so good it went on to inspire other legendary machine guns, like the American M60 and the Belgian FNMAG. The legacy of the Buzzsaw is just a powerful reminder that a truly game-changing design can last for generations. Our final weapon is a bit of a ghost. You won't find it issued to modern armies, mounted on a Humvee, or carried by special forces. And yet, it's arguably the most influential firearm of the 20th century. Its spirit is alive in nearly every single assault rifle on the planet today. This is the Sturmgewehr 44, the St. G44. To get why it's so important, you have to understand the problem facing the average soldier in World War II. Troops usually carried one of two things. They either had a powerful, long-range bolt-action rifle like the German Kar 98K or the American M1 Garand, which were slow to fire. Or they had a submachine gun like the MP40 or the Thompson. These were great for spitting out bullets up close, but they used weak pistol ammo that was basically useless past 100 yards. This left a huge tactical gap. Most firefights actually happened between 100 and 300 yards, too far for submachine guns and too close for slow bolt actions to be ideal. So, German engineers came up with a radical solution. They invented a new type of bullet, the 7.92 by 33mm Kurz, or short cartridge. It was an intermediate round, weaker than a full-size rifle cartridge, but way more powerful than a pistol round. And then they built the perfect weapon to fire it, the Sturmgewehr. That literally translates to storm rifle, or as we'd call it today, assault rifle. The St. G44 was the whole package. It had a switch that let a soldier choose between single shots for accuracy or full auto for suppression. It used a 30-round detachable magazine, giving the user way more firepower than any bolt-action rifle. For the very first time, one soldier could deliver effective automatic fire at the most common combat distances. It was a tactical game-changer, giving a single infantryman the kind of firepower that used to require a whole machine gun team. The St. G44 showed up too late in the war to really change the outcome, but its idea changed everything that came after. After the war, military experts all over the world, especially in the Soviet Union, studied the St. G44. The result? The AK-47, which used the very same concept of an intermediate cartridge and select fire capability. On the other side of the Cold War, the US eventually came up with the M16. Pretty much every standard issue assault rifle today, from the American M4 to the Russian AK-12, follows the basic blueprint laid down by the STG-44, a select fire weapon, firing an intermediate cartridge from a detachable magazine. So while the St. G44 itself is now a collector's item, its ghost is truly in the machine of modern warfare. Its design DNA is in the hands of almost every soldier on today's battlefield. And those are just a few examples of how World War II's legacy endures on the battlefield. I'm curious, what other World War II weapons do you know of that are still in service or whose influence is still being felt today? Drop them in the comments below. And hey, if you found this surprising look at military hardware interesting, do us a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into military history and tech. From the raw power of the M2 Browning to the terrifying speed of the MG42's descendants and the game-changing concept of the STG-44, the tech of World War II is clearly far from obsolete. These weapons have stuck around for one simple reason: they were just that good at their jobs. They solved fundamental problems on the battlefield with designs that were tough, effective, and brutally simple. It just goes to show you that sometimes victory doesn't come from the newest, most expensive gadget. It comes from a design so good it becomes timeless,